Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to yet another episode of Youth in Being podcast, where we talk about the silent thoughts, the loud emotions, and everything in between. Being a youth isn't just about growing up, it's about becoming. So let's become together. Let's become bold and confident. And as always, I am your host, Pendo Suzin. And today in studio we have our guest. Well, she's well acquainted with you guys, so I bet I'll just say amekuwa mwenyeji, right? Yeah, so Paris, welcome. And today I will let you introduce yourself and tell us whatever thing you want us to know about you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me here again. It is a pleasure and an honor to be back in studio.
You're welcome.
I am still Paris Praise, a student taking computer science, a really hard course.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
Yeah. I am passionate about making the world a safer place for women and children. Seeing the system that we have right now that gives men an unfair advantage change to something, a place where, or a system that creates a safe place for everyone, where the society would take rape and sexual assault as seriously as they would murder and robbery with violence. I am also a friend to our host, Pendo Suzanne, and she's quite an amazing person.
Thank you so much. And thank you for coming back again.
I enjoy being here, so why not?
Yeah, sure. All right. So okay, so getting into today's topic. I mean, last time we talked about consent and the dynamic around rape culture. We talked about the myths and misconceptions that are there around rape culture. We unpacked a lot of things, talked about some heavy stuff that was there. We learned new things and learned the old ones. And with the information we have, I think we are getting somewhere, right?
Yes.
So today let's talk about the aftermath, okay? The victim's point of view. You know, what effects does things as sexual assault or rape do to this particular person? So this is what we want to talk about. Now, as we begin, I'll just want to remind you that we are doing a series and we have named it More Than a Hashtag, because it's not just always about hashtag stop rape, hashtag stop sexual assault. It is more than that. It is something that we're supposed to shed light into as much as we can. So yeah, welcome back to More Than Hashtag series. So let's dive right into it. Okay, so Paris, do you think the society ever focuses on the aftermath of rape?
Well, I think most of the time they tend to try and brush it over because it's quite a heavy thing. It is something that people won't and don't want to understand. Yes, so they try to brush it under the rug. They blame the victim, say that it was her fault for how she was dressed, for the fact that she was unconscious, she was drunk. So they do all manner of hurtful stuff just because they don't want to process and help the victim.
Okay, so the society doesn't really understand them now, do they?
No, and I think they don't really want to try to understand them.
It's interesting. And I feel like people find it very hard to even begin these conversations. It's hard to get people in the society just talk openly about such things as rape. Why do you think it's hard for these conversations to occur?
Because, well, sex is a sacred thing. It is something where, one, both parties get naked. So there is shame around there.
Yeah.
So even talking about sex, the normal one, the normal thing, is shameful. People deem it as shameful. You can't come and tell me you had sex with someone and I just take it as another light matter. Though I'll be like, no, don't tell me such stuff. So now that there is evil tied to it, there's shame and trauma. And trauma is never easy to process, whether it's the victim or the one listening to the story. So it just becomes something that is hard to process or talk about.
So that is why people dim the light when it comes to this matter.
Yes.
I see. So you have talked about it being hard on both the victim and even the person listening, because say maybe the listener doesn't have enough resources or enough knowledge, right?
of what's going on.
Yeah, okay, all right. So people people assume that healing, let's talk about healing. People assume that healing is simple, others assume that healing is just impossible or it takes a period of time. What would you say about that?
I don't think healing should have a timestamp on it. People should be allowed to take as much time as they want and need to process and get over or try to understand like the whole thing. It is normally heavy. I can imagine the heaviness of it. So it shouldn't really have a timestamp. Allow a person to process the trauma, the incident for as long as they want to.
So there's never really a specific time given, a time frame that is given to somebody to heal.
No, and they should never be. You should never tell a person that it's been 5 years now, you should be
Yeah.
over it. No, it might have impacted them so hard that it would take them more than even the 10 years to
Sure.
get over it.
And so people react differently to the trauma that comes from rape or the trauma that comes from sexual assault.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
And it takes a toll on people differently. So let's talk about the effects that comes with such trauma, it at an individual level or whatever level there is for the victim. Maybe tell us something about that.
Well, so the incident can have different effects on the victim. There's social effects, can affect the person socially, it can affect the person emotionally and health wise, depending on whether there was penetration or not. So it becomes hard to trust people. You really don't know who around you is the right person to talk to, is the right person to be around. And it sort of makes it hard for the victim to maintain relationships because they could now see anyone in my friend circle, in my friendship circles, anyone that is close to me, any man that is close to me is out to get me.
Yeah.
So maintaining such relationships can be hard. It can be hard for the victim to develop romantic relationships because if a person was assaulted by someone as close to them as a husband or a boyfriend or someone they were dating, then trusting someone else in that sector could be hard. There is also fear. The victim develops a lot of fear afterwards. If the incident happened at night, you could have this crippling fear of working at night, depending on how you respond. So, the other effects it can have on the victim is feelings of shame and guilt. For the guilt, for victims who didn't really fight back, they'd feel guilty about that fact. They'd feel guilty for freezing at the moment. And we explained that a freeze is a response, a trauma response. So they might feel guilty for not fighting back. For some, if they were lured into the situation, they might beat themselves down for the fact that they accepted the deal, for being desperate enough to go to that person's place if they were being lured to the place. Yeah, so it's just a whole dynamic and it varies. It varies from victim to victim depending on the whole situation, how it came to be, and how severe it is.
So that means that it gets to a point where a victim could even blame themselves for putting themselves into that situation so they're accessible, even if it wasn't intentional or they didn't even understand what was going on. They tend to blame themselves.
Yes, they do. I mean, I think anyone would end up blaming themselves because let's take a scenario where a person was drunk, so and then they were raped. So it's like, I wish I wasn't drunk at that moment. I
Yes.
wish I didn't take that bottle. I wish I didn't drink that alcohol or that
much.
drink or that much.
Yes.
So yeah, I think victims at some point while processing the whole thing tend to blame themselves. There's also another scenario where people are lured in with jobs, and unemployment is an issue in different countries, and people are desperate, might be desperate for it, so they might blame themselves for not seeing the signs, for not detecting the deceit, and yeah, it just becomes a whole other thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's also pregnancy and STIs if there was penetration during the assault. And I can imagine on young girls, pregnancy is a lot. It is something that changes a person's life completely.
Yeah.
So having it and it being a result of something so traumatic can just have a toll on the victim.
Yeah, so that also affects how you see yourself as a person.
Yes.
Because say you get pregnant from the assault or from the rape, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you are not psychologically ready to be a mother if you're not a mother yet. You're not psychologically ready to be a mother, or you're not ready to carry a whole child for 9 months
And take care of them after.
yeah, and take care of them after. So this is it takes a big toll on your mental health.
Yes, it does. It
Yeah.
really does. Because even for those who are mentally ready for a child,
Yeah.
it affects them. It still affects them. So imagine someone who the process of getting the child wasn't right at all.
Yes.
It was maybe brutal, it was painful, and then it results to a child, and you have to accept that it is not your fault, it is not the child's fault, and having to deal with all the emotions and having or being forced to process them fast enough to be able to take care of the child. It just takes a toll on someone.
And getting to that point isn't easy stuff, especially if you do not have support from people or maybe your friends or family. It is on a whole other level.
Yeah, and if a person gets blamed for it.
Yes.
And for some victims,
it gets even into the environment. Things like sound can trigger them, different sounds or certain smells. Maybe they during the experience or during the rape or the assault that happened, there are some sounds that they could hear which traumatizes them when they get to listen to them later on, or some smells or even places. Okay? Say you pass down some alley in your neighborhood and you're like, this is where the act happened, and you get traumatized from that. Okay, so places, sounds, situations, smells, or even some people seeing the perpetrators if they are not brought into justice. Yeah, that also goes on to affect them. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does, and it seems like a lot. I mean, imagine a person having to deal with the fact that they can't listen to certain songs.
Yeah.
They need to avoid certain sounds. They need to avoid certain places. They need to avoid certain people in order for them to not have to deal with all the emotions they felt at the moment.
Yes.
It's quite difficult and it's hard on the person. And I wish people would see the magnitude of the matter. And because of how the thing is so big, the processing, the incident itself, I'd wish that the system would take this into consideration and just try their best to put all these perpetrators to justice, because it brings some sort of relief. It won't heal the person automatically, but knowing that you got justice or the person was punished for hurting you, you are able to process it better, you are able to handle it better, knowing that you got the justice you deserve.
Yeah, true. So speaking about handling it, we have talked about the healing process or the recovery process having no timestamp on it, but there's a way that somebody can cope with the trauma that is at hand, and people do it differently. You know, some react to it, some do not. There's a whole dynamic around it.
Yes, there is, and how a person reacts to the incident uh, is totally up to them. They should not be told not to overreact. They should not be told not to be angry. They should not be told how to feel. People should stop dictating how the victims should feel.
Yes.
Ati usikasirike sana because, well, he was just a friend and he was playing around.
Yeah.
They should stop dictating how these victims should feel. And the fact that it is different should not affect them. Like, it should not be considered. Ati just because, for example, if I was assaulted and I did not react too much into it, I didn't have certain symptoms like fits of anger, I did not have a crippling fear, does not mean that when you, for example, get assaulted, you should not have those things. So yeah.
And that is true because a lot of most of the times others get to bottle all this thing inside. As you have said, maybe some people could express fear or they would be angry at people and just be very violent and all that. But some would also go emotionally numb. Most of the time, the people who go emotionally numb are misunderstood for having not been affected at all. You know, somebody will go about their daily activities like nothing happened, and everybody will be like, "Oh no, she's okay. She's just fine. She's going through everything like daily her daily lives and routine." But the fact is that that is their coping mechanism. Maybe they have bottled it inside and they do not know how to process it, or maybe they have actually just healed and as you said, people have different time span to heal. Yeah. In the previous episode, we had talked about how it is wise actually and very advisable to report incidents like this, go to the hospital and all that. But the fact remains that it's not always as smooth as we expect it to be when we get to reporting, say, the police or people around us, our friends, our family. Yeah, something of that sort.
Yeah, it's true. It's sometimes never goes the way we want it to go. You would want, for some people, they will report, and the people will be supportive, they will help them in the journey, but not everyone has that privilege.
Yeah.
For some, you'd come, tell your family member, and they'd be like, you're seeking attention, or you do not want to be in school, or you are doing this so that you can get this
To
or
be
that.
noticed.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
quite unfortunate and unfair. And for such people, for some of them, they tend to like bottle it up. If uh let's take a scenario where a student is assaulted by a teacher.
Yeah.
And the student comes and tells the parent, hi mom or hi dad, I this and this sort of teacher has done this and that, and the parent reacts by not believing them or by saying what we had just said, oh, you're seeking attention and stuff like that.
Some would even send their children to Shago.
Imagine,
go be with your grandparents.
wacha wakufunze
Adabu.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
it's not fair. So, and for such a scenario, if it happens again, just because the teacher wasn't told to take accountability or wasn't held responsible, then you'd feel like reporting it again is just another
Unnecessary.
It is unnecessary. It is me just saying it, having to deal with the disappointment of I am telling my parents they're not believing me, or I'm telling my guardian they're not believing me, or I'm reporting to the police and they're making fun of me. And you as a person, or for some of the victims, they just bottle it up, wanaweka chini ya carpet. Unaona vile ukiamba ufagie, ukiamba ufagie nyumba, alafu kwa sababu unaona ni kazi mingi kufika kitchen, kuchukua dustpan, unaweka uchafu chini ya carpet. So they do that. They would find it hard to process their emotions on their own, and because they're not given a chance to let it all out, to talk about it, then they put a cap on top of it. They just bottle it down, and they go on with their daily lives. And this at times is quite dangerous. I mean, most of the psychologists out here tell us to express our emotions, to express the anger, to express the anger, the sadness, and bottling it up might result in it exploding one day. And for some people, it is as bad as committing suicide. Yeah, it is as bad as that. And because you had to act like everything was okay, everything was fine, because your brain had to numb it because of the severity of it, people now ask themselves, but she was okay. Why
Yeah.
would she kill herself?
Mhm.
But she used to just smile. She used to tell us she was okay. So what happened,
Mhm.
So I think and I believe that if someone tells you that, hi, I have this and this has happened, and it revolves around rape, it revolves around assault, them telling you is already hard enough.
Yes.
So try as much as you can to believe them.
Mhm.
Or if you don't, act like you do.
Yeah.
Act like you do. Go and tell someone else about it and let the other person handle it instead if you don't want to.
True.
Yes,
I
because
mean,
it's hard.
it's always difficult when somebody approaches you and you do not give them a safe space enough.
Yeah.
When a victim doesn't feel safe to express these emotions, that's why you said earlier on that when an incident happens once and they're not believed, and then another, they find it hard to express it or to share it again,
Yeah.
because they won't feel safe enough and they won't feel that they will be believed,
Mm.
and that dims them. There's a way
Yeah.
that they tend to tell themselves that, hi Naja, I hata niamini anyways.
Yeah, you just cope with it.
Yeah, you have to just cope with it.
And it leads to things like you find someone who used to wear this certain way changes drastically.
Yeah.
Now they're wearing this other way.
Mhm.
But it's their way of protecting themselves, because the people they expected to get protection from tend or end up being the people who blame them for the
Yes.
incident.
Mhm.
And it's quite unfair. It's not nice.
Yeah, it is. Because you can imagine having to tell your friend, or you come to me and tell me, Pendo, I went through this, and I'm like, nah, you're joking.
OG jokes.
OG jokes, kwani, it's not that deep, by the way.
I know, and you were lucky enough to have such a handsome guy do that to you.
Yeah.
Or even worse,
Mhm.
you could have just let them do what
it.
they were doing.
And a lot of people would say that.
Yeah, and it's heartbreaking.
Yes.
Imagine you are assaulted. It is an awful experience. I would imagine it is awful.
Yeah.
Because one, it could be painful. There are a lot of emotions going on. And then you decide with the shame, with the guilt, to open up.
To somebody.
And then someone tells you, ungeacha tu afanye kenye alikuwa anafanya. It was painful because you resisted.
And people take it as a norm.
Saying such is okay for them, is nothing big. I'm just saying it. I'm being honest.
Yeah. And I mean, some survivors or some victims would even choose to go silent, total silence.
Yes.
In the sense that, yes, we are told that we should report, but some would choose not to and tell nobody at all.
Yeah.
And this, from fear of maybe, from fear or shame, or, the gossip that goes around, or the stigma. People will go through stigma. Victims. And I do not understand why the society would do this.
It is unfortunate.
Yes.
And there was this story about an incident that occurred in Nigeria. So there were two ladies who were lured in by a man for a modeling job. So a person comes, tells them that there's this modeling gig. We will pay you this amount, we'll pay you that amount. So they go, they are lured, but the man holds them at knife point, rapes them,
Really?
takes intimate photos of them.
Oh my God.
And when they report, when they get all the evidence they're supposed to, when they, the society tells us, when this happens, do this, and that.
Yes.
So these women, these ladies, did everything society had told them to do. They reported, they went to the hospital, got the evidence they were supposed to get. They did not delete the chats that the man and them were communicating
as evidence.
Yeah, they did not delete it.
Yeah.
They had a witness. But then they go to court, and court declares the case null and void.
No.
Yes, they did. They declared the case null and void.
With all the evidence and
with everything there. They declared the case null and void. And so the perpetrator was just given a light punishment of sweeping floors. Really? He wasn't even asked for the photos.
And now you can imagine what the victim is going through.
Not only the victim, if someone else in that country hears that story,
Yes.
atajambia that hata nikireport while having all the evidence,
There's
I
nothing
won't,
that will be
I won't be helped.
And these are things that actually motivates even the perpetrator to do the same thing.
Yes.
Because if he did it with these two, it won't be hard to do it with another person.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will encourage the one that was let free.
Yes.
Because it was said that he was let free because of the power he had and the money he had,
the influence.
But it gives other men, not only the perpetrator himself, but other men out there plotting the same, the courage to do so. It could be that someone was plotting to do it but didn't have the courage. But now that he realizes that the system sort of like supports them, then they get the courage to do it. And they do it. And it's as bad as you'd imagine it to be.
I'm at a loss of words because this is something that happens in our daily society, and somebody out there would sit down and say, why don't they just move on? You'd ask a victim, why can't you just forget about it?
Exactly.
Don't think about it so much.
Yeah.
Somebody will tell you, oh no, you are still traumatized because you're dwelling on it too much. Just forget. It is not something you forget. It's not like you forgot your car keys on the table.
Exactly. It is people should understand that it is not that easy.
Yeah.
It is not that
It
easy.
is something that lives with you
forever.
Even if you get through it and you find your courage again, but that incident never leaves you.
It never leaves your mind because for those who are triggered by the sounds, the scents, it is a switch that is flipped in you. You hear a certain sound, it relates to what happened, the switch is flipped, the whole incident is replayed, and then it's like you're back to square one.
Come to think of it, I mean, in this society, there are those people who are fighting against these things. They're fighting against rape. They're fighting against the rape culture that has been developed and normalized in the society. They talk about it. They're so vocal about it, just as we are doing right now. Yeah. But thing is, they are given names, labels. Okay, they are told that they are feminists, and they change it into being women who are there to hate on men. They just want to dim men's light, and they're not. They're just not for men and all that.
Yeah, and it's something I've never quite understood. For a while before developing this passion for creating awareness, I used to believe that feminists hate men.
Yeah.
But after looking up at the actual meaning of who a feminist is, I got to understand that they don't hate men or they don't hate who men are. They just hate the system that gives them unfair advantage.
Yeah, over women.
It's because a man, like the story we just told just a few minutes ago of that man who was let go.
Yes.
It could just be because one, the society raises men to be more powerful than women. So just because the man had the power, he was allowed to walk free, and that is unfair. That is a system that allows a man that did that to a woman to walk free is just unfair. And that is what feminists are against. And the fact that the society twists the meaning of who feminists are, try to say that they are against men, try to say that they are just yappers who hate men, who don't want to date, who are against how the society works.
Yeah, people, and I really wish it would be different.
I wish the system could take feminists seriously and not just try to diminish them, because most of the time, the people who become vocal about this are women. The people who try to defend rights, the women's rights, the children's rights, are women. So the system tries to diminish them, tries to label them as men haters. And if they didn't do that, if they took the initiative to listen to them, to take it seriously, to see how severe rape affects a victim, how assault rapes a victim, then they would take initiatives such as changing laws, creating ones that would create a safer place for women and children.
Yeah, that is true. And also looking at it in the light of there are men who also support the feminists, okay?
Yeah.
The men who are also in the forefront to fight against rape, to fight against such things. Because I believe there are fathers out there, or brothers, or friends, or siblings, or yeah, who are also against such things, and they stand with their mothers, with their sisters, and the females in the society.
Yeah.
But look at how the society deems them. The society tends to say, oh, these are men also that hating men, or somebody would say, oh, you are going against the manhood or the brotherhood.
Thank you. You're
You
going
know?
against your own kind.
Yeah. And come to think of it, that somebody would call rape culture a brotherhood.
It's quite something, right? It's quite something. And
It is infuriating.
there was this thing I came across, and I got to see that in the dark web, men have groups, support groups,
Yeah.
where they share tips on how to rape people.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, there's also sort of like a community of pedophiles that's
Yeah.
coming up. They also have symbols.
And the fact that they talk about this and they give each other ideas,
It's just messed up.
it is messed up.
Messed
It
up.
is so messed up. I do not even know how to wrap my head around it, in a place where you can think that any day, anytime, your child or your sister or your friend could go through this in the hands of anybody, maybe the uncle or even a stranger, it is messed up. It is so messed up. And well, I don't know. And it's how we react, just as we said earlier, it's how we react to these things as the family members or the society at large. It's how we react to our victims sharing such things to us, or these things actually happening, okay, to us, that matters even more. All right, because we can't just be quiet about them and expect things to change.
Yeah.
Yes. So we talked about victims being silent, and one thing for sure is that silence cannot do something. It cannot do anything.
Yeah, it is really not a solution.
Mm-hmm.
And to anyone out there who has been assaulted, or just something weird has happened, be vocal about it. There's this phrase I tend to say: women are not angry enough.
Yes.
We are not angry enough. And if you become vocal about it, you encourage your sister, you encourage your friend, or you encourage someone out there to be vocal about it. It might be hard, it might be difficult, you may not get the support you think you'd get, but it's important. It is important, because the more we keep silent about it, the more we refuse to report, the more we refuse to talk about these things, is the more the system will not take us seriously. It is more, nothing will ever change, and the world will just keep getting darker and darker. And we have children we need to protect, and we just need to have a safe place for everyone to live in.
Yeah, and also silence is not proof that something did not happen. Somebody might be silent, but maybe there something did happen, they just haven't told you. So maybe you should also be your brother's keeper or your sister's keeper. Look out for them. You might, as you said, victims go through these things. It's the trauma that comes, and once trauma comes, there has to be some changes, and you have to notice some changes. Maybe she was doing a certain things and she's not doing it anymore, or she's doing this more and she wasn't doing it earlier. Some things that you can notice in a friend. What do you think? Yeah, what do you think? There are some changes that you can notice in me, even personally, according to you.
Well, some of the things that might change in a person is how they show up.
Yeah.
A person might have been the person who, ukimpigia for a function, the first to be there.
Yes.
But now hataki kutoka kwa nyumba, hataki kuongea na watu. They could be that the way they dress change.
Yeah.
Someone who used to wear jeans and tops, someone who used to like maxi dresses that hug their body in the right places,
or just free dresses, free
yeah,
clothes,
yeah,
and all that.
and then like, it changes to baggy clothes,
Yeah, oversized t-shirts or
yeah,
hoodies every time.
kuna joto but hatoi sweater.
Yes, exactly.
So certain things do change, and I think that as friends, as sisters, as cousins, we should look out for such. I know it may seem or it may sound like asking for a lot, but please look out for your friend, look out for your sister, look out for your child. Yeah. If you notice something change drastically, ask what's going on and encourage them to talk about it. It could be that they feel like you'd judge them as a parent, you'd judge them as a friend, your image might change as a sister or as a brother. But then encourage them, tell them, show them that it's a safe place, that they can just talk about it. And even though they did not report immediately, that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The fact is they have told you and that you will deal with it from that point on.
Yeah, true. Okay, well, I feel like we have talked about a lot of important things. Yeah, very heavy things and important things. So, if a listener was to remember at least one thing, what is the one thing you would not want them to forget?
So one thing I'd want someone to live knowing is do not choose silence. Because some people out here don't know that such things happen. They do not understand the effect rape has on people. They're just ignorant. So you'd find someone saying that it was just jokes because they don't understand how severe the effects are.
Yes.
So please, let's be vocal about it. If you've gone through such a thing, you could look for someone to talk to about it so that it can be known that something happened to you. The more we are vocal about it, the more the information goes out there, because there are some people who don't know what goes on. They don't know how severe the effects can be on a person. And so if people are vocal about it, then people would have to seek the right information. And that would maybe change the system in one way or another. Because if people understand how bad it is or how bad it gets, then they wouldn't want it to happen to the people they love. And so they'll just do one thing that would change the system over time.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Just a reminder that people go through the healing differently. So people experience these kind of traumas differently. Everybody has their own dynamic on how to deal with their kind of trauma. So give them the patience that they deserve, the maximum support that they deserve. And if you need help, just remember help is always available. Just reach out to the right people. Helplines are below in the description section. Do not forget to ask for help, or from your family, trustworthy people, that is. Go to the police, go to the hospital. Yeah. Uh thank you very much for this also today, Paris.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, and we are hoping to see you again next time. More like hear again from you. Now, we have unpacked a lot of information and we have learned quite a lot. I hope you have too. Look forward to much more even next week and the other week after that to learn even much more. So, as we finish, Paris.
Yes, friend.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I'd like you to join me into doing my ritual outro. I know you've heard of it, have you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have.
Yeah, of course you have.
Mhm.
Yes, we'll do it together. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, and go. This has been Youth in Being, where we do not have all the answers, but are sure enough not afraid to ask the questions. Nice, thank you so much.
You're welcome. That was nice.
Yeah, it was.
That's normally sounds amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a favorite part of the podcast.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, that was all for today. And until we meet again, be your authentic self and keep pushing. Bye bye.
Bye.